All right, welcome everyone as you pour into this week's edition of our bi-weekly podcast. We welcome you today. We're going to kind of do a back to the basics. So what is a stock? What is a bond? How do you spell it? I'm just kidding. We're not going to. We're going to start with going big as we normally do. Going big today is really going to be about a couple of different things. I've done some travel, had spring breaks with both of my daughters, met quite a few people, had quite a few experiences. Been rained on in the globe, which if you see behind me, that's what's going on now. I'll kind of raise it up a little bit so you can kind of see that. Just the Alpenglobe to meet in inclement weather outside and still have another conference room, which is outstanding. But mainly grateful to the team who continues to run the business, and to you who are our clients, who's the reason we run the business. So my gratitude really extends in many directions. So let me pass that off first to, how about Zach?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Always a lot to be grateful for. Today, just grateful for my son's smiles in the morning and all the sacrifices my wife has made for us and our family, and just in life in general. And those smiles this morning when he wakes up and gives me the biggest smile, and we do our morning stretches together, which is so much fun. So I cherish all of those moments.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach. How about Mr. Birschbach?
Thank you, Chris. I'm grateful for the ability to actually celebrate some small wins today. For the last at least 5 years, it's probably longer than that. I've been a long time bedtime procrastinator, and I'm today celebrating a very long streak that I've started of 2 nights in a row that I've gone to bed when I desired to. So we're gonna try to keep that trend going. Hopefully the rain helps today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. It's kind of funny. I really hope you can stretch for 3. That'd be 50% more. That'd be outstanding. It's good. How about Mr. Mann?
Hey, Chris. I am grateful for the Brewers because they won yesterday. Thank whoever you thank in that regard. But yeah, the Brewers won 5-0 last night against the Royals. The bloodbath has ended of them losing by double digits, and so it's wonderful to see them back on track. And 158-4 isn't a bad record, Chris. So we'll see what they can pull off here.
That's awesome. I'm not quite sure what that meant, but that's 158-4 is not a bad record as well. And I guess, did Brendan Woodruff, I think he made 3 innings last night, didn't he? So I think it's nice to see him come back potentially as well. That's really cool to see. How about, let's go with Mr. Ken.
Good morning, everybody. Great to be on the webinar with you all today. And my gratitude goes out to the family. Just watching my kids grow up as a proud dad, watching them kind of blossom into their own little personalities, whether they're jockeying for position or what they do at school or sports or within the family contribution. Really quite fun to kind of step back a little bit, watch them grow up, as my youngest now is 8 and the oldest one is 13. They're getting to be a little bit more self-sufficient, which is really interesting to see. So grateful for the kiddos that keep me going every day. So.
And I was going to say, you're becoming a little more self-sufficient every day too. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
How about Ryan?
Thanks, Chris. I am thankful for another successful maple syrup season for my family. I think a lot of our clients know that my parents still have a pretty big maple syrup operation going on, and I'm grateful for that for a lot of reasons this year. It keeps my parents very active in retirement, so it keeps them mentally sharp and physically active. And I also get to share it with my kids now. It's a source of a lot of core memories from my own childhood, and now my kids get to experience that with me and with my parents as well. So a lot of fun times up at the Northwoods cabin.
That's awesome. You guys tapping trees. I think that's fabulous. How about Ashley?
Thank you, Chris, and good morning. I am grateful for the unconditional love. Our family recently got a dog, a Bernedoodle, and she just got back from the trainer. So we are just enjoying all of our time with her and the unconditional love again that she shows all of my kids and of course my husband and I also. So just enjoying that time with our doggy today.
Awesome. We appreciate that. Great rainy day, great rainy weekend to have a dog, which is nice, and the great 40-degree weather that we've returned to here in beautiful, rainy Mequon. At any rate, on with today. So today we'll kind of do some back to the basics. So some of the things we'll talk about, we'll go through those. There's a few different things that I think I can talk about today as well. That is There's something I'm probably going to send out, and I think that it's very interesting. You've seen some things come out from us lately, and it's really ignore the news, ignore the rate cuts. Nobody can time them. You got a lot of stuff going on with tariffs. Nobody knows exactly what that'll mean. And there's 25% tariffs. By the way, the most US made vehicle in the United States is, I think, the Toyota Tundra or the Honda Ridgeline. Just so you know, that will have the least effect by a tariff, which is quite odd. Maybe I'm not supposed to mention names. I don't think only one of them is public company, but however, the whole point is looking at some of the misperceptions that are out there. There's no ability to predict what'll go on. People are very much worried about rate cuts, and they're very much worried about which direction they're going to go. And then they're worried about the tariffs, and then worried about this. There's a lot of changes going on at one time. So one thing I've realized over time, if you're looking at my time in the market over 30 plus years and 2 or 3 major market cycles, is the interesting part about it all is it is unpredictable. Patience is a virtue. And it's extremely important for us to continue with whatever plan we have, because a lot of the noise of the news is completely unpredictable in which fashion it'll move. Oh, it's going to go up or down today. Yeah, you're right about that. Longer term, 70 to 80% of the time, historically over 20 years, you're going to find a very, 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 very large percentage of the time it'll move up. So being patient with your plan is going to be extremely important here. There's some great philosophers who said things as well. I call them philosophers because they're actually investment advisors. Peter Lynch and others, who say when you're trying to anticipate corrections, you actually have lost more money than those who've just sat through them. So I really look at that today as patience is maybe our line. When I look at a couple of items, when it comes to the market, and this is different in life, when you are in life, I would call it, you want to be a participant, not a spectator, right? We get that same desire in the markets. We want to be a participant, want to be up and down, want to know what's going on, want to get out before it goes down and back in before it goes up, right? But that's not often how it happens. Most people actually get out when it's at the bottom and get back in when it's at the top or much higher. Statistics prove that. I won't give those on here exactly now, but that's been proven over my entire lifetime, and what I've seen, it's been very similar. There's a lot of people feeling right now, and this is an important one as well, a lot of people feeling a lot of angst. Could be market, could be politics, could be weather, could be anything out there. But I'd say be very careful about letting anything outside of yourself dictate how you feel. Ultimately, how you feel is responsible by you. You may have rough health. There may be some things you don't agree with. There may be, people around you that are maybe causing some things, that are saying things maybe you don't want to hear. But I'd say ultimately, you want to be very careful about this. Ultimately, each one of us is responsible for how we feel, whether we like it, believe it or not. It's one of those practices that takes a lot of practice to get to. But I really want to, the faith, patience, and discipline we talk about here, the 3 different, values that we practice at Gentian, and we offer to you to practice with your plan as well, are of paramount importance in times like these. So come what may, we offer to you the practice of faith, patience, and discipline during these times to let your plan do what it's supposed to do. With that, I want to move on if we can. There's several other things going on in markets we can talk about, and the guys will be great at that. But let's go to Mike's Minute. Mike, what's up?
Thanks, Chris. So today I want to talk about kind of a little bit different of a direction here, and not actually talk about the market specifically or things of that nature. I recently
wait.
Yeah,
Rename it. Let's call it Mike's Minutes. Sorry,
I actually need Mike's 53 minutes, because I recently recorded a presentation for a partner near us of being able to manage debt and decisions to be made to help them with their financial literacy and things in that regard. So appropriately talking about a couple of those different topics and things that we went through, things to maybe share that might not be pertinent to yourselves, given the fact that our clients are wonderful in making these decisions along the way. The one thing that I will mention is that when it comes to financing a big purchase, making those kind of decisions, bring us into the conversation here. It would be a wonderful thing to take a look at what the financing options are and really talk to things at a in-depth level of what your opportunities may be, to either is that bridging a gap to be able to make a down payment on a mortgage or on a new home without a contingency, making some of these decisions along the way without having to necessarily dip deep into your investments and realize a lot of capital gains, but yet financing something that could then be paid off in a short-term period once a mortgage is actually put into place. So that's a securities-based line of credit in a lot of places. If you have a brokerage account with a large balance, that's something that you can do. It's actually a secured loan secured by the investment securities, much like a mortgage is secured by a home. On the other side of the equation, something to share with your grandchildren, your children, people who you may know who's struggling with something like credit card debt. Right now, credit card debt is climbing. It's something that's right at or close to all-time highs, and things are expensive, generally speaking. So something that others may not realize is that a consolidation strategy for credit card debt isn't only just taking out a personal loan, which is a really good strategy because it brings a plan into place to making a monthly payment. So you're not just throwing at what feels like a wall if you're continuing to use that credit card. So consolidation to a personal loan to put that money into something with a defined payoff period is a wonderful thing to explore. And there's so many great outlets with competitive rates just looking online. There's different vendors out there. Look at NerdWallet, they'll put you in the right direction. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention is balance transfers for credit cards. You can sometimes look and find a credit card that has an introductory rate of 0% for 18, 21 months, even at some cases, with no interest. All you have to do is transfer a balance from the previous card to the new one and be able to get that interest rate. Sometimes it's like a 3% charge to be able to do that one-time thing, but then figure out the amount of time that you can pay that off and save yourself money on interest. Now, you got to be careful with these strategies, right? As soon as you pay off those credit cards, you got to be careful to not go back in and start using that again. It's very easy to ignore the fact that now you've moved the debt, right? You've moved it, you haven't paid it off yet, and feel like you can start spending again. So it's all a mindset. It's all something that we try to help people with when the problems occur and be able to navigate some of those things. Like I said, a lot of the things that we help you individually with is more of bringing these ideas so you can share with others, because there's been a lot of great decisions along the way for you to even be part of our family here at Gentian Financial. So thanks, Chris. Chris, you are muted, and I can keep going if you would like.
Well, you said 58 minutes, so I was going to honor that. I have a question for you. So if April showers might bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring? Pilgrims.
Oh.
So anyway, as we go on, I just wanted to let's push on. Let's say, how about let's go with Zach's facts. What's going on, Zach?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. That's a nice one. Your dad jokes are getting better. I think it's part of being a dad is that they hit a little bit harder. But just going into, we'll go through the markets where they're at for this year like we normally do, share a couple timeless principles that we use here, and then I'll just jump into real quickly something to share with your kids and grandchildren. It's a cost of delay calculator. So going through the markets, the Dow Jones temporarily down 1.6% to start the year here. All of these are year-to-date numbers. The S&P 500 right around 4.6, temporarily down. The NASDAQ, which is 50% weighted towards technology, is 9.9, closer to that 10, kind of that correction range. And if you include December, that 10% number is what they use for marking a correction. The NASDAQ is in correction territory. Same with the Russell 2000, which is those smaller size companies. That's 10% temporarily down to start the year. And then something very, very exciting for us and kind of ties into one of our timeless pieces is that international has actually had a really good start to the year, 7.22% positive on the year, and emerging markets as well, 3.27. So we've heard a lot about like, oh my gosh, markets are in a horrible spot, or you hear it from media, or you look on your phone and the stocks app and all the news articles that come in of how horrible of a start it is this year. These are extremely normal market movements. There's an annual intra-year drawdown in the S&P 500 of 14% on average every single year since 1980. Yet the return for the year is over 10% per year since that time frame. So these are just normal market movements, and ties into the two timeless principles, which is diversification and asset allocation, that if we're all in large cap growth, what has really done well over the last 2 years, you'd be significantly down to start this year. Or if we were trying to look at the different asset classes, like, man, small cap growth really has a tough time since the interest rate change in 2022. Let's put all of our money in there. It'll come back eventually. We'd have a really tough start to this year. But because we're diversified across many different asset classes, in many, many cases, we're very close to flat for the year, which is great to see that the timeless piece of asset allocation and also putting rebalancing on top of that, of trimming off of what has done well last year and buying what didn't do as well, really working to start this year. Just jumping in to this cost of delay calculator, I'll just share my screen here real quick. So this is a really fun calculator that we share with kids and grandkids of our clients. and just assumed that they're 25 years old, retiring at an average retirement age of 65, and are able to max out a Roth IRA of $7,000 every single year with a 7% return. S&P has averaged about 10%, but we always want to underassume the return that we'll have long term. But if they were to do that for the next 40 years, they'd have $1.3 million, not including anything they're doing in their work plans or work matches or anything else that they're investing on top of it. Oftentimes, I've heard from friends over the years of, I'm just going to live my life in my 20s. When I'm 30, I'm actually going to invest and start investing and getting serious about it. Even though that was only a $35,000 difference as far as what they put away, because of compounding, that delay cost over $430,000 at that time. If they said, oh, 30 is a little too early, I still want to live my life, I want to do these different things, I want to kind of spend my money, let's wait till I'm 35. That decision was $750,000 and very, very difficult to catch up. They'd have to put a lot more money away to be able to catch up. And it's just a great timeless principle that if your kids and grandkids are thinking about putting money away in their teenage years or early 20s, the best thing they can possibly do is to start early and continue to add to it over time. So with that, Chris, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you. Sound like we had radio communication coming in there. Awesome. Thank you very much. I think, offering this perspective on diversification, it's amazing to watch different asset classes move at different times. There's some great opportunities. So thank you very much for keeping us posted on that as well. Let's go to Michael B. Michael B., what do you have for us today? You got a couple of great fundamentals for us as well.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, a couple of good reminders of some basics in a world that's changing rather quickly. I think there's no better time than now to take a look at some of these things while Mother Nature decides what season it's going to be tomorrow. On the budgeting side of things, good time of year to do a checkup on your cash flow, taking a look at where money is going, whether those be some essentials that you need on a month-to-month basis or some discretionary spending. In other words, the ability to choose whether you can buy something or not, just to make sure your lifestyle is sustainable. You may have noticed in the last couple of years, costs have risen. So neither anybody in retirement or anybody building in that accumulation phase are really overspending their cash flow. And also, if you did get a big raise this year or a big jump in your income, it's important to think about setting some cash outside and planning for taxes, or looking at some of your tax withholdings to adjust those, just to make sure that next year when you file those taxes, there's no big surprises. I think right now, on the saving side of things, we talked a lot about cash and cash rates. Right now, so kind of the other side of Mike's point on the credit card debt and debt management, having that emergency fund built up on the side. You mentioned paying off that credit card debt if you move it, consolidate it to a 0% loan. If you don't continue to build up that emergency fund and we have a surprise expense, car needs a repair, something like that, we're just going to need to pretty much take that debt back out and put ourselves back at step 0. The safety net that an emergency fund can also provide is an opportunity when markets correct to do some investing. So this can be kind of a double-edged sword to help us avoid accumulating some more debt, but also having that opportunity to do some investments or purchase some things. So just a couple of things I wanted to cover today, and back to you, Chris.
Thank you very much, Mr. Birschbach. I appreciate you. Appreciate bringing us information as well. Let's go over to Mr. Ken's corner. It was interesting. Ken recently bought a trampoline for his kids, and he was out washing it. I said, Ken, what are you doing? He said, I'm spring cleaning. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate that one. I appreciate your
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Well, I'm gonna bounce on to the next topic because of that one there. So take a look at this one. This is kind of fun. I always like to bring a little humor to our bi-weekly videos here. So here's something kind of goes to Zach's point, and this is a little comic. If you can see it on your screen, great. If you can't, I'll read it to you. It's someone sitting at a computer saying, at our current savings rates, we should be able to retire in 327 years. And that's what we're trying to avoid when we're talking to you all and talking to your family and talking to your kids and grandkids about saving. And really the idea with April being Financial Literacy Month right now is really to take a look at this and say, pay yourself first. You've heard this before, probably. It's a common theme that gets talked about in the idea of saving money early, like Zach was talking about. And really what it is, it's really pay yourself first. What does that mean? You earn money, you save for your financial future first, then you spend what's left. Seems very obvious and seems very common sense, but really what happens in today's world is when we get our first job, oh my gosh, we're making some good money now. We were in college, we were broke for a while. Now it feels like you kind of win the lottery once you get your first job once in a while. And then next thing you know, that boat pops up right away, or that new vehicle pops up right away, or that toy you always wanted pops up right away. And next thing you know, now we have monthly payments going towards debt payments that really could be or should be going towards our savings payments, if you will. So it's really one of those ideas of pay yourself first. And if we can get that mindset correct, boy, oh boy, it really makes a big difference for your future. Because what you can do then is you can team up with a financial advisor at that point in time and say, okay, here's my goals. I want to retire at 60. I want to retire at 62. What do I need to do to save per month to get to where we are today? And that way you pay yourself first. You have that mindset first, and the rest will kind of fall into place after that. So once we have that mindset, then we can start working on Roth IRAs, personal accounts, 401ks, where to put the money. But if we have a great mindset of saving the money, then we can help figure out where to put the money after that. So the last piece I want to touch on before I hand it back over to Chris is it's tax time. A lot of you are done with your taxes already or about to be done with them. Sometimes there is an extension that has to be filed because of, well, for various reasons. But if you have them done, we would love to see a copy of them. Upload them to your vault, please, because really what it does, it really tells us a lot about the story. And yes, we've been talking along the way year after year, but it helps us identify opportunities for like Roth conversions or cash management enhancement. If you have, if we see a little bit of interest, maybe we can enhance that to see more interest, if you will. It also enhances opportunities for charitable giving, because a lot of accountants have this sheet that says, the standard deduction is really, prevalent right now because it's a big number. But all of a sudden, if we see what the itemized are, sometimes it's really close to what the standard deduction would be. We just didn't jump over that hurdle. With some of the ideas that we have on charitable giving, and a lot of you do that, there's ways that we can get over that standard deduction just by being a little bit more wise with some of the tools that we can utilize when it comes to that. So please allow us to see your taxes. It really tells us a great story. We'd love to help you out where we can. Back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Let's go to Ashley's angle.
Thank
Ashley's
you.
advocate. No, Ashley's advocate. That sounds even better. I'm gonna change it every time. Ashley, what do you have for us today?
Thank you, Chris. Well, as everyone has mentioned, spring is in full swing, and that means a lot of people are already planning for summer vacations and maybe even your next spring break. So we bring to you today a few travel tips that can help save you money. So the first one we're going to take a look at, hopefully everybody can see my screen, is leveraging those reward points. Using your credit card points, frequent flyer miles, as well as loyalty program can help reduce a lot of travel costs. So if you have those credit cards and those rewards points adding up, and I think it's a great time to use them and apply them to travel versus, of course, other things that you can also use them for. Booking accommodations wisely is also something that a lot of people are starting to utilize Airbnbs as well as VRBOs, especially if you are traveling with family members. Everyone can be a lot more comfortable, and you can also, of course, order those groceries to be delivered to your home and cook some meals at home. That can also save a lot of money, as well as a much healthier alternative than eating out frequently. Also, planning ahead and packing smartly, excuse me. You don't need everything, and there's lots of course, Walgreens and stores that if you do forget something, you have the option of picking up easily, or of course, again, just packing smart, planning for your trip, and packing lightly is also encouraged. Shopping sparingly. I know it's tempting, of course, to buy souvenirs, but just give some thought into a lot of money saving ideas that you can not use shopping and, of course, spend somewhere else. traveling during off-peak times. Maybe you even look at accommodations that are Tuesday to Sunday instead of, Saturday to Saturday. Checking those dates can be a very big money-saving opportunity for everyone. And of course, travel time is a lot more expensive just because of the season. So booking that travel a lot ahead of time, or giving yourself time to plan for that trip during those holidays can also save you a lot of money. It still comes up, but Tuesdays seem to be a significantly cheaper time for booking flights. So just remember that little tip and have a safe traveling experience ahead of you. Back to you, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ashley. I appreciate it. So Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we need to pay attention to this week? Let's call it Ryan's reasonings.
Ryan's reasonings, better than ramblings that I had last time.
No rambling.
No ramblings this time. Many of you probably noticed in your newsletter the mention of the Fireside Theater trip coming up. So I just wanted to put that reminder out there to be on the lookout for that, to RSVP for that if that's something you're interested in, and also to point out that there has been a change to the price with that. We have added in a bus trip, so you don't have to worry about you're driving your own car, parking, travel as far as that's concerned. And that is now included in the new price that you would see in your email on Monday. So please check that out, RSVP, if that's something that you'd be interested in joining us for. And that is on May 1st. So coming up pretty soon here. We also have, of course, our biweekly podcast continues. Next will be on Wednesday, April 16th. Join us again at 9 a.m. Also on Wednesday, April 16th will be our next birthday club, doors opening at noon. So please, if you've got an April birthday, RSVP for that, come join us and let us celebrate you. Quickly following the 16th, the Friday there, April 18th, is Good Friday. So markets and our offices will be closed in celebration of Good Friday. And we hope you all have a happy Easter there that weekend as well. Tuesday, April 22nd is Volunteer Day at the Domes for Earth Day. So if you're interested in putting in some volunteer time, helping out the Milwaukee Domes, you can RSVP for that through your Monday email as well. And again, following that quickly, Wednesday, April 23rd will be our Spring Technology Workshop. That will be from 9:30 to 11:30. And of course, please RSVP for that if you would like to attend as well. I also wanted to point out just one little reminder. I'm sure many of you enjoy this as I do, but Michelle Norris, our nutritionist, posts in these Monday emails as well. And I found her little tip of the week for this week extra applicable: what to do to improve knee pain. And I thought she had some really good tips here as far as stretching and strengthening. And even for the younger folks here who have some knee issues, definitely is very helpful. And I think we can all learn a thing or two. And she also posts a healthy recipe as well in that. So definitely check that out. It's always the very bottom of that email. So make sure you get all the way to the bottom on those. That's all I have today, Chris.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. If you're going much longer, I might have to change it into Ryan's ramblings. I'm just. Hey, question for you. Larry asked a question. Where's up north? Very quick. Where is up north for you?
Up north for me is Suring, Wisconsin. It's a little further than it is to Shawano.
Nice. Is it Northconsin, which I call the UP of Michigan? No, it's not, sort of that. So at any rate, all right. Thank you very much, Ryan. I totally appreciate that as well. So I'm going to read you guys something. So there's somebody who passed away recently I haven't talked much about, but one thing you'll find is that there's so many biases and misperceptions in the world. I talked a little bit about that before, and we carry those biases out in front of us. Whenever anybody talks to you, you're perceiving what they're saying with your bias. Okay, this is something we have. Bias has a negative word. It's just a profound word, but I want to say this as well. So Mr. Daniel Kahneman passed away. He and Amos Tversky are two of the people that years ago, to many of you at Kimberly-Clark, I brought in the year that they actually won the Nobel Prize. We brought the research into you and started talking to you in West Office 1. It was seminal to our business 25 years ago because it really cemented our behavioral investment counseling. But their research showed that humans, in this, I'll read this directly from the letter that I'm writing to you guys. The research shows that humans tend to make predictable mistakes, especially under stress and uncertainty. Listen to that. Especially under stress and uncertainty, people make predictable mistakes due to mental shortcuts and emotional biases. For example, we feel the pain of losses way more than the joy of gains. This can tempt us to abandon a sound investment strategy and during any market downturns. Now, you guys know that, you've heard that from us, but this is why our plan together is so important. It's just not about picking investments. It's about building a strategy that helps you stay the course through both calm and turbulent markets. It's also why I continue to talk to you about your goals, behavior, and how we navigate uncertainty together, why it's super important. I'm paraphrasing some of this, but the last one I want to really read to you because it's something that's fairly profound. So Kahneman and Tversky, two Nobel Prize winning economic theorists for behavior, by the way, their work reminds us that successful retirement is not just about beating the market. It's about not letting the market beat us. So that's a huge, huge thing I want to send you off with. Let me read that last line again. It's successful retirement is not about beating the market. It's about not letting the market beat us. Use that. Let that resonate with you. If you have any further discussions you'd like to talk about, let us know. But it's great to have you here. Thank you for all the success that you guys have been achieving. When those show up in magazines, remember, I say it is you that should be there. Your name, cross mine off on the newspaper, whatever, Barron's, put your name there. It's your confidence and trust in us as we continue to grow, your introductions, your faith in us, your faith in the future, your practice that really elevates this practice. We become we love this business. We absolutely love it. We'll become one of the vaunted practices because of you. I want to make sure that you understand that. With that, I know we've gone a couple minutes over today. We thank you tremendously here from the rainy headquarters, galactic headquarters of Gentian here in Mequon, Wisconsin. In thunderstorms and rain, we do this so that we may bring flowers or apparently pilgrims as we look at that as well. With you, have a great rest of your week or two. Any questions, let us know. We're here for you. We're here to help you stay the course. If you need any reassurance, don't hesitate to let us know. With that, we look forward to talking to you in the next 2 weeks, right at about tax time. Take care, everyone.